Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to Season 20, the mystery season of WOR. We're here for the console Tier 1 side of things tonight, and that means only one thing. We get to find out what is Round 4 here on the 14th of March, and I'm joined by the incredible Leopard. Leopard, welcome along for this one. We both have our predictions wrong, don't we?
Yeah, we've missed it again, haven't we? We've got it all wrong. I'm a week late with my prediction. I think we were just saying before we went live that I think I went with Miami for round 3. It's round 4, so I don't know. Can I take something from that? I have no idea. But either way, the Miami circuit obviously relatively fresh, I guess still, as far as new tracks on the F1 calendar and whatnot. Obviously third game it has been in. So I guess they're slowly but surely, getting used to everything as far as this Miami street circuit is concerned. Obviously, it's kind of, you get one nice and flowing section, then a massively long straight, then I guess a tight and twisty technical section, then another massive long straight, and that's basically, bar a couple other corners, that's Miami in a nutshell. So we'll see how the drivers tackle it here tonight.
We definitely will do. It's pretty much that rinse and repeat. For what is it, 29 laps? I think I can't remember. I'll have to. Well,
I think you've got it just right. I think
we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. But this is the results from last week. The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It was absolutely chaotic, I think, is the only way we can describe that. Some definite incidents throughout. Before we get out on track, it is looking rather grey out in Miami right now. I don't know why I wanted to call it Mexico. We'll have a look at the standings, and it's Brando leading the way by 5 points to BRT Silo in second place, who's a further 2 points in front of ET8 Ryder Dahl, who has managed to get himself into a championship fight there. What a way to do it as well, after picking through the pieces of Abu Dhabi. That was such a. I mean, if we cast our minds back, unfortunately, I don't think the camera has decided to work. But I think if we can cast our minds back to it, Leopard, it was something else, wasn't it? It was, I don't know how to describe it.
it was certainly a chaotic one, wasn't it? Last week in the Yas Marina circuit. Obviously, Ryder Dahl coming out on top in that one. Who again, I think he was under a little bit of threat of potentially having that taken away from him, but he's kept hold of it. I think it was clear, from qualifying when he put that 21.3, I want to say, in that last lap of qualifying, it was quite clear that, he just maybe, had a little bit extra in the tank compared to everyone else. So, in the end, I mean, you had to work for it, but maybe, going off qualifying, not a huge surprise that. He was able to translate that into race pace. I guess on the contrary, you can argue there are times where when someone puts in a qualifying time like that, there's always that massive question: is this raw pace or is this qualifying pace? And it's in some cases, certainly in the past we've seen plenty of drivers. Not going to name anyone. I mean, there's many from over the years that you'd say. He can put in a lap. He's got great qualifying pace, but he can't translate that into race pace, and they'd fall away maybe in the race a bit. Ryder Dahl didn't do that, albeit fell down a little bit, managed to recover, and took home his first race victory of the season. And as mentioned, that does put him well within contention for this title.
It certainly does, doesn't it? And well, let's head ourselves over to track. TF10 Dirk is on a lap right now, who's just about heading that second DRS zone. I don't know if you can call the start-finish straight the first one or technically the third, but we're going to call it the first one. There's 3 nice DRS zones here in the Miami International Autodrome, and it's quite nice to have 3 DRS straights when there's 3 straights.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically every, reasonably sized straight this track has a DRS zone on it, which, given how powerful it is on this game, I rather get the feeling we are going to see something rather similar, potentially even more mad than we did last week in Yas Marina. Because just, with how powerful it is, overtaking is gonna be. I don't want to use the word straightforward, but it's definitely. I don't feel like it's gonna be difficult, especially if the other car, i.e. the leader, doesn't have any DRS. It's gonna be. There's gonna be a lot of chop and change, I feel. And if they can keep it clean, I might be stretching a bit there, but on the whole, for the most part, we shall say, there's a strong chance we might lose our voices, Gareth, potentially, because I feel like this one could bring a lot of on-track wheel-to-wheel action in any form, I guess clean or not, whether it goes over the limit or not. I think we're going to see a lot of that here tonight.
I think you are right, as maybe Hazara just about to start. Oh, not just about to finish. They're heading down the back end now, and in the background, I just saw TTM Ryan Bakar losing the back end at turn 16. The only bit of information I know from Miami, the only bit I managed to write down before we moved on, as we see the Hard Rock Cafe in the background there, the sign for it, as oh, there's no front wing to that Red Bull now either, was the last time we were here in Miami. It was season 17, round 9, in the middle of Cameron Dowd's 3-win streak at the end of the season. So Cameron's got winning pedigree here, so we might see something special from them. The Quantum then, let's see what they are going to do. They are, I think, maybe the next car. I don't know, there's a few. Yeah, I'm just going to stay with Le Quantum. It's classed really as a pad track, this one, isn't it? So some of the, it's odd to see that Cameron's got. Well, I don't want to say it's odd to see at all, because Cameron is a class act most of the time. But he's got pedigree here on a pad, supposedly pad track.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily. I think the term pad track may be a bit stretched, but it's definitely one where you'd say it's more pad friendly. I think that's the best way to put it. I wouldn't necessarily class it as an, out and out pad track. Maybe one to throw out there would be something from previous games. Would be Shanghai from F1 2019 in particular. I remember just watching Syrah there, on that game, and in particular Shanghai is just, incredible to watch. And just the sheer amount of pace he had, making the most of it. Here, I think it's definitely it's again, it's more of a, to look at it, I guess, a bit more reasonably. I mean, I guess we know what the classic kind of wheel tracks are. Particularly something like a Monaco definitely comes to mind as a wheel track. I'm trying to think of another one that seriously comes to mind as just like, yeah, the pad's just not in any shape of being able to compete. There's a few on there. Suzuka, I think that's another one you could probably throw in the mix. But yeah, I think this one, Miami, I feel it's more just one that it levels the playing field. It's either or. I don't think there's really an advantage to be had. I don't think. Then again, I've not played the game since December 2022, so, and that's, well, over 2 years ago now, so crazy how that time flies. So yeah, I guess I wouldn't necessarily fully know what those differences are. A couple games later on F1 24 as the Quantum, first man to the 1 minute 24. I think he said 24.1. That would have been an impressive lap time. 24.9 for the Ferrari driver. First man to the 1 minute 24 bracket. So yeah. Also, little fun fact on the topic of stats. This was my last WR race. Does WR the league, or as in the whole of WR? It was Legacy Division. But yeah, it was around here that I managed to do my final race. I went straight to the side of someone at turn 1. Tech Brutal goes into provisional pole, 1 minute 24.879. These times are slowly beginning to tumble. I think we might see mid-24s come the end of this qualifying session.
Looks like it is heading that way as we go on board with ET8 Laurens then around turn 16 and down the back straight for their first proper timed lap. They have gone out 4 and invalidated, which is unfortunate. But, that's, it's something in that final part of Sector 2, that tight and twisty part, is quite difficult to not invalidate through there, and then step down on the power too early through the exit of turn 17, which sets the back end just slightly adrift, which, you look at it, maybe ET8 Lawrence would be a little bit higher than they were. Here's Ryan Bakar then, rounds turn 16 themselves down the back straight, but it looks like Joe Murphy or Tony Richet, with either one of those kick Sauber cars, is going very, very quick behind. And I'm not sure if the ghosting allows slipstream or not, but these kick Sauber does back off in the end.
I'm going to put it past it. Ryan Bakar around the final corner. I'll say that into the pit lane. We'll go more with Silo then, who's on a lap. Well, 6,000 up last time I checked on the exit of Sector 2. Clearly, that final corner is not to his liking, and he backs out of it as well. So, 8.5 minutes to go. The majority of the drivers have at least 8 time on the board, only 4 without a time. Zinedine, Justin, Ryan Bakar, and Hazara, all without lap times for whatever reason. But those that certainly are currently in the top 8, maybe in particular, I think honestly in particular, if you're the top 3, you're really liking, those timing screens right now. There's a few gaps here and there. There's almost like a bit of a, it's going to take a little bit more to put you like massively further down the field. Lots of drivers have to find, a 10th and a half to 2/10 if they want to, displace you. I think Tech Brutal's going to be loving life a provisional pole position. He may not get there, or he may not get provisional pole. He might, but I think judging off what those times at the moment, things are looking really encouraging for Tech Brutal and La Quantum and Ryan. Those 3 in particular, I think those qualifying times are really encouraging.
It's good to see Max van der Geest up as well. A bit of a topsy-turvy season so far as well. As we're at round 4. I know it's only 3 rounds. Well, this is the 4th round. But when it's only a 10-round season, it really does add a little bit extra spice, and you can't really afford too many mistakes through this. As here comes Hazara to start their lap time then into turn 1. Let's see how much of the curb they're willing to attack onto it. And Hazara really does jump over that herb.
Yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if he backs out of this one, because it looks like he bounced over those curbs a little bit too much. Then again, it might just be worth getting a time on the board. We'll have to wait and see, but this car does not look settled whatsoever through Sector 1. Well, he's got no time to measure up against through Sector 1. So yeah, it might be worth just getting a time on the board. He has a 30.0 in the first sector. I'm just going to go and quickly check what that is in comparison to the rest of the drivers.
Well, just to remind everyone here in the mystery season of season 20 at WOR, we do, well, the racers or the drivers tonight will not be allowed to use hard compound tyres, as there's an invalidation there through on, I think that's the entry of turn 14. And Azara will have to back out of that one. Let's have a look at Justin, who is just coming through the first sector, about to finish there. One of 4 drivers yet to set a lap time. We've just been on board with Azara, who invalidates again with 5 minutes 50 remaining in this session. But yeah, no hard compound tyres allowed to be used in the race. So it will force drivers to either be really conservative on their tyres and do a 1-stop, or push them towards a 2-stop strategy. It will likely be a soft, medium, or soft, medium, soft tonight, in my opinion.
Here we go then, Justin through the second sector. Again, very easy to cover. That's maybe because that's where the tyre... Oh, inside front lock-up into turn 16. That's going to cost him dearly. It actually was a very good lap up until that point for BRT Justin, so it might just be worth finishing it. Should have enough time to get back round and go again for one last go at it. Yeah, that kind of section, turns 13, 14, 15, 14 and 15 in particular, as you mentioned earlier, very easy to invalidate. Not necessarily, it's just simply that there's so much time if you can get the curbing right. Justin, despite that mistake, heads to second row of the grid provisionally. Haas are having an absolute party in Miami right now. They're both their cars into the 1 minute 24 bracket, and Justin definitely, I'd say, has a lot of time to find. I'm not sure he has that much time to find, though. That is a stonking lap time from Tech Brutal. 1 minute 24.626. Cameron Downs, great lap in his own right. 24.791. Joe Murphy to 24.7 bracket as well. So suddenly, the times are tumbling down, and they're coming in like crazy, basically. They're coming in thick and fast. Joe Murphy and Cameron Downs really stamping their authority on this session, but Tech Brutal still the man to beat right now. At the top of the timing screens. Again, bit like Rens Thomason from a lot of last season, does look like he might just have an extra tenth or so in his back pocket in comparison to the rest of the field. We'll see how it pans out, though, in the remaining 4 minutes of this qualifying session.
It's a very, very good lap time, and Lawrence is also up on their lap time in Sector 2, which is very, very good for them. Hopefully for them, it will put them within the shooting points of the top 5. But Justin, is that benchmark right now, I think, for everyone else, as Lawrence through the final few corners, but decides pit stop time it is. Casper then into the end of the middle sector, into this tricky part of the track where you can quite easily invalidate, as they have invalidated there. Zinedine, are you going to invalidate? No, it's Zinedine. It's 2 seconds down from anyone else I see as the split, so I can't see them unless they just want to put a time on the board, but I don't think it. I think it's going into the pits.
Come in now and I was about to say, surely in that situation you haven't got time on the board, it's not any good. Surely you do just come in and throw everything at it for one final go. Manlike's on a little, well, I'm guessing that's an in lap by the looks of that. Casper also into pit lane. Silo out on track.
Silo's just put himself into 5th.
There you go, so Silo will be in. It's going to be late, it's going to be tight if you're BRT Silo, or now just Silo. Any ideas what's happened there? The Silo left BRT? I'm not the most informed these days. But I do notice that is a game attack change.
Yeah, that is a game attack change. I didn't believe that they had a team swap, but well, we can find out, I'm sure, at some point. Someone in the chat, if you let us know, that would be great. And also, predictions for pole position. Tech look like it's going to be his at the moment, but if you could let us know your predictions, that would be great as well. Quartz then is coming in to the final corner, well, the final few corners to set their lap time.
Here we go then. Quartz then, 25.6, a second off pole position though, needs a big lap time to at the very least try and get themselves amongst the top 10. Needs to find about half a second here. Here we go then, down into turn 1, diving a little bit for the apex, and now just want to try and get turns 2 and 3 as well as you possibly can. Just try and get a nice smooth run through there. Very easy to lose the back end of the traction. Gets out of those corners just fine. Now it's maximum commitment through turns 4, 5 and 6. A little bit of understeer through 5, and now just holding it as opening up turns 7 and 8 as much as he can to get a good exit down this back straight. 4/10 up through sector 1. Decent sector 1 if you're Quartz, and now it's flat out DRS open through turns 9 and 10 before you're gonna have to spot your braking point down in turn 11 and just in an opposite to sector 1. Very tight and twisty, very technical, lots of throttle control needed to get through this section, and now you've got to be brave with the track limits here. Does just that. Oh, that's the curb. Almost a bit of a lottery, that curb through turn 15. Can kind of spit you off if you're not careful into a wrong direction. He's lost a bit of time, but he's still got 3.5 tenths in his back pocket. Might be able to challenge the low just outside the top 10, depending on how much more time he's got on the table. Through this final corner then, down in turn 17, or final braking zone I should say. Hugs it tight, now just need a nice smooth exit. Overtake on, through turn 18, now flicking right through 19. Tight line up towards line, what's it going to be? It is just outside the top 10, P12. Could have been a bit more if that curb hadn't spam out unkindly through turn 15.
Definitely shame for Quartz, because it's likely to drop down the order a little bit. Brando's just about to start a lap time. Who could be just about to finish a lap time is Le Quantum. Let's go on board with Le Quantum. Le Quantum had been on a decent position at some stages earlier on, a little bit higher than 4th, which sounds very odd, but they were 1st or 2nd in the early stages. But Joe Murphy and Cameron Dowd both have displaced them through this. Down this back straight, there they go then, into turn 17. Heavy braking points where we've seen drivers already make mistakes down here as well. Looks pretty good, but could have been a bit closer to the apex there on the corner, I suppose. If I was to be critical, as there's a yellow flag for Max van der Geest retiring, and here comes the Quantum. It was quicker, just not quick enough.
Yeah, improves, but not by enough to improve his position. A couple of disqualifications and improvements coming in. Rainbow Car's gone up to P6. Lawrence gone up into P5. Now, all eyes. Well, I was going to say all eyes. Joe Murphy's had to back out of it. I think Tech Brutal is on a lap. Cameron Dowds, I think, might also have a lap as well. So here comes the Aston Martin and flicks into the hairpin of turn 17. Can he get the power down nice and smoothly? Indeed he can. Take Brutal into the pit lane. So then Cameron, what have you got? Can he take over second pole position? No, you can't. Does jump Joe Murphy though. So he puts himself on the front row of the grid. Can't quite get his second pole position of the season. And instead, it is the Haas, Tech Brutal, the pole man from Shanghai, does the business here on the streets of Miami. He is the pole man. He'll lead them away for the Grand Prix.
Tony Richet into the wall as well on oddly on the exit of 19. So that is very odd to see. A vehicle stuck there like that. But there we have it. These things happen, as we just see the. It looks like a GTA. The hydraulics car with it bouncing around like that. But it is Tech Brutal, Cameron Dowds, and Joe Murphy in the top three there, with LaQuantum in 4th, 5th to Lawrence, TTM Ryan Bakar managing 6th place there, 7th to Silo, 8th to Shazoo Volakongan, BRT Justin in 9th, and 10th to TF10 Ryan. Then you've got Hazara, Max van der Geest, Brando, Dirk, Casper, Epic Vale, Tony Richet, Manlike, Zinedine, and Quartz. Zinedine unable to set a lap time. Quartz disqualified because of facing the wrong direction, which is very, very odd to say the least. Not something we were expecting at all.
No, you rarely see disqualifications like that. Oh my! Wait, is this going to count?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You won't be able to see it on stream, but the heavens have opened in Miami. It is tipping it down currently. Yeah, this won't be obviously the lobby. I don't know if it's going to get carried over or if it's going to they're going to swap it. I'm not sure quite how this works, even after all these races on this game and commentating. Yeah. I'm not. That's caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to see mass heavy rain on the streets of Miami, but oh my, yeah. Okay, so you won't be able to see it, but TF10 Ryan's just put an image in the Discord about the weather conditions that it would have been. That is tropical.
Tropical to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah, literally monsoon conditions. Yeah, that's completely caught me off guard. I'm not. Yeah, is it gonna? Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Where even were we? I've completely lost track.
I don't know either, to be perfectly honest. That wet weather certainly caught us off guard, and it will be interesting to see if we've got that in the race as well, because that would be our first absolute pouring down with rain race for a little while. Miami. I don't think we've had rain in Miami in console tier 1 before either, so that would be an interesting one to come through as well. But there we have it. That's I'd love to be able to go through the qualifying order again. But while we wait for the lobby to get reset and to go from there, we're just going to have a little word from the sponsors again, and then we'll be back shortly after. Let's have a look back at the standings then, just to welcome back as well. I know it was only like a minute off of your screen from our ramblings, but yes, let's have a look at the standings. Brando then in the lead of this championship standings, but qualified kind of poorly here tonight, hasn't he?
Yeah. So he wasn't at the front, was he? I can't even remember
14th, I think.
14th, yeah. So that's a recovery drive needed. The kind of recovery drive or damage limitation drive, that wins you a title. So it's a big race almost now. Well, it is a big race for Brando after that qualifying. It's recovery from these sorts of setbacks. If you can do it right, that wins you titles. So, a few eyes are going to be on the Italian, the McLaren driver here this evening. Seiler will look to take advantage of that, as will Rydell. Is Rydell here?
Don't think he is tonight.
No, never mind. So Rydell's going to be losing out some points, which is a shame. Volkongen, kind of ever consistent. He'll probably pick up some decent points, I'm guessing. And if he keeps up in that vein, he'll put himself in the tile contention. I think Tech Brutal's going to be the big one to watch, and I think judging off that qualifying, he's going to be my favourite for the race. And again, if he does pick up a race victory, he puts himself right back into title contention.
He certainly does. You're looking at it though at this title. You've got Justin there in ninth. He had a decent qualifying. Usually, I think we mentioned last week as well. Justin and qualifying hasn't always worked together, but I think they've sorted it out a little bit. There's a little bit of a coming to agreement between Justin and qualifying, and it looks like it's going in the right direction. But I'm just trying to think who else. Cameron Dowd's there in fifth. You can't ever write Cameron out of this as well. Epic Vale had a poor qualifying, and down in sixth in the championship. But another driver that has to make it through the grid.
Yeah, just briefly on Cameron, it does feel like he's slowly getting that qualifying together, doesn't it? Obviously he already had the one pole position. Front row here tonight. He's slowly getting to grips with these qualifying sessions, which puts him, where he needs to be at the front from the get-go. I think, start translating that into podiums and race victories. I've literally just looked at the standings. It's not even a podium this season for Cameron Dowds. Obviously, rather unfortunately, you could argue at least there potentially should be at least a race victory, certainly a podium to go. To go with it. So feels like potentially, if we can just keep it consistent. We know Cameron's good at the back end of the season. It'll be trouble if that starts to click for everybody else. We'll have to wait and see.
Just as a reminder that there is no use of medium compound tyres tonight. A hard compound tyre. Imagine mediums. Wow. That would be boring. I mean, some tracks would end up having to be a soft, hard, soft, or something like that. Dependent on the track. Probably not. It'll probably still be soft, hard. But yeah, here we have it. Pretty much ready to go here tonight. We're just waiting for the drivers to get themselves sorted. It is Tech Brutal on the front row of the grid in pole position, with Cameron Dowds alongside them, and Joe Murphy and the Quantum in the second row, third and fourth respectively there. It's going to be a big one. I'm going to ask you the question now. Who do you think is going to take victory tonight?
I think I've already said it. Tech Brutal.
Oh, you're definitely going for Tech.
I'm going for Tech. So who are you going with?
I'm going Cameron Dowds. Boring.
So great. We've been the two on the front row. The one who's got race pace in abundance, and the pole man. We are so original, Gareth.
Yeah,
I love it.
We are so original. Let's have a look at the track map then for Miami. It's 19 corners long here for this one of the American Grand Prix on the grid, and it is 5.4 kilometers long. It is going to be a crazy, crazy race. 3.36 miles if you want it in the miles as well. and it was first race in 2022, but we're going to go racing. Here we go. Lights out, nearly on us. 5 lights here, and away we go. It looks like a good start there from Tech Brutal, which is exactly what he needs off the line as they head into turn 1. It is very, very sensible, apart from Cameron Downs and Joe Murphy, who tried to get something sorted, but nothing happening in the end. But that's possibly helped Tech Brutal at the front end of the grid. There's Ray and Bakar and Silo going hammer and tongs, and there's more cars battling away in the rear ground there. As you've seen something there.
Yeah, no, it's just Silo going up the inside of Ray and Bakar, turning it tight. So easy to do. Through turn 7 into turn 8. Oh, there's contact! Oh my goodness me, that was so close between the pair. Ever so slightly locked wheels. They thankfully get away unscathed, and they'll be able to go about their business as per usual. Silo going trying to be later on the brakes. Ray Bacar's 2 on the brakes into the back of ETA Lawrence. They're still side by side. Ray Bacar and Silo, they're going to be side by side into this technical section. They're banging wheels, there's bumper cars through this middle sector. Who's going to come out top? No one wants to yield. Someone's going to have to yield. In the end, it's Ray Bacar who concedes a position. Justin follows Silo on through, and all that battling, and they're nearly out of DRS. Here comes Justin to the inside of Silo. Job done for Justin. He'll say thank you very much. Those two were, Silo and Ray Bacar battling like crazy, just knocking lumps out of each other here on lap 1. They definitely didn't get the message that the race can't be won at turn 1 or lap 1 or whatever. And at the end of all that, Justin up into P6, where it's Tech Brutal who leads the way. He's gone away unscathed, and he's already looking like he fancies dropping the hammer. 7/10 gap to Cameron Downs already. Well, that's not really enough, especially when you consider DRS is literally going to be open down this back straight. So Cameron will be able to just reel him in, keep him at bay, keep tabs on him for the rest of this, well, at the very least, stint. We'll see how the rest of it plays out. So Tech Brutal tried his best, got close. It does definitely look like he's definitely got a lot in the locker, got a lot in the tank to use up in terms of just raw natural pace in that house. So Cameron, Joe Murphy, Le Quantum and co are going to have a lot of work on their hands if they want to keep Tech Brutal at bay. It's Le Quantum almost pushing Joe Murphy through the middle sector.
Epic Vale and TF10 Dirk having a fight through this middle sector as well, down onto the back straight. After 16, they were side by side. The TF10 Dirk had to concede the position in the end. Tony Richet's trying to get involved in the battle for P15, and this is how bad it is defensive from Epic Vale. Dirk has got through. This is going to be tight. This squeezing through. That could end up badly for any 1-3 of them. There's still three abreast. Here comes the Ferrari of Manlike as well. It's going to be 4 into turn 1. Manlike surely has the position and has done. That is a triple overtake from the Ferrari driver. Epic Vale still being pushed there by Tony Richet. Oh my goodness, it's going to be 4 wide again if Zinedine is going to have anything to say about it, but I don't think they are. It's Tony Richet and Epic Vale now fighting away. Dirk is now fighting with Epic Vale and goes off the track and makes the move stick. And oh my goodness me, that is mental. Something to mention out of all this, Quartz had to pit on lap 1 to get off a set of hards as well. Back to the leaders.
Yeah, Quartz's weekend has just gone from miserable to utterly diabolical, basically. I mean, pick out any word that's worse than miserable, because the disqualification was bad enough, and starting on the hard tires and having to rectify that is even worse. And now it's just basically a case of safety car, please, if you're Quartz. That's all you can do. Meanwhile, Cameron Downs up in the front, into the lead of the Miami Grand Prix, down in turn 17, down the pit, not the pit straight, the third DRS straight, and he's taking the lead off Tech Brutal, and he'll lead the way here on lap 4 of 29. Joe Murphy doesn't have anything for Tech Brutal into turn 1, so he has to yield and just tuck him out for the time being. Justin and Silo also doing battle into 1 as well. Volokongan in 9th, Brando in 10th. Decent start for the McLaren driver so far. For our championship leader even. Up 3 positions. Here's Brando. He'll look to try and slowly but surely get through the field as efficiently as he can to try and recover a poor qualifying. Joe Murphy then, right up behind Tech Brutal, right behind Cameron Downs. Tech Brutal to the outside line. Goes the Haas driver, goes the poleman, he's later on the brakes into turn 11, job done, and Joe Murphy has fallen through. Into P2, Joe Murphy has come to life all of a sudden this season. He's been a bit quiet as last season's title contender. Now, suddenly, in the streets of Miami, he's woken up, and he fancies a bit of this one, doesn't he? Does Joe Murphy, and he's sniffing the back of Tech Brutal as well. He fancies to get into the lead of this Miami Grand Prix. He's got the DRS. Does he fancy going into lead this Grand Prix? No. Drops it down to none. Decides to sit back for the time being. Does the kick Sauber.
This is what we're going to see an awful lot in this race, is drivers just going past and looking like, oh, shall I overtake at this point? No, I'm just going to save a little bit more ERS, and then it'll happen to other drivers as well. There's a yellow flag in the background, as I think that's someone towards the back. Let's have a look at this. It's four drivers again. Man like TF10 Dirk, TF10 Tony Richet, and Hazara now, with Epic Vale dropped way off the pace, I think pitting again. Having a little bit of a squabble at the final, well, turn 17. I call it the final corner because it kind of feels like it is.
Well, it is, but it also isn't.
Yeah.
It's like the rest of it's just flat out, just a couple of corners here and there, but yeah. Epic Vale into the pits. I'm not sure if that was for damage. I know he got 10. He actually did get 10 seconds somewhere along the line. In fact, we'll scrap that at the moment because Joe Murphy is going right around the outside. Tech Brutal. Tech Brutal to stay duck without DRS. Here comes the Quantum. Here comes Cameron Downs to the inside and outside respectively. Tech Brutal's lost 3 into 1. That's how powerful the DRS is, everybody. Joe Murphy, Cameron Downs, the Quantum, all 3's gone by. The Haas of Tech Brutal, nothing. Absolutely nothing Tech Brutal could do on that occasion, and he'll just have to slide behind, regroup, recharge the battery, and now just try and go about, well, how do I get back past these 3? Because I think definitely, judging off the opening lap, Tech Brutal is the man with the pace. He's got to make sure he doesn't go to the back of the Quantum though and pick up any unnecessary front wing damage. A little bit too late on the brakes, a little bit too close to comfort. Glass drive just going to calm it down a bit. He's lost his rhythm. And it's understandable, it's natural, been leading the Grand Prix for a few laps. Yeah, okay, Cameron Downs passed him, he re-overtook him, and then all of a sudden, 3 have just gone by you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do. And you're just out of control all of a sudden, You've gone from having all the control to suddenly it's out of your control. You've got to try and find a rhythm or find comfort in this scenario. And it can just take a moment to get used to it, find your rhythm again. And Tech Brutal is just in that phase right now. And he's almost actually got a very nice gap, both behind and in front, to go and do that half second either side to just, gather your bearings, regather yourself before then being able to go back on the attack. Nothing doing as far as lead changes go down into turn 11 on this occasion. I say that though, we've got battling for P5. It's Lawrence and Justin doing battle as we go through the middle sector into 12 and 13. Contact! It was going to happen eventually, wasn't it? And it has happened, and it's not as bad as we maybe initially feared, but Lawrence has lost a few positions. Again, so easy to do. If you don't want to yield, incidents like that are going to happen. Yeah,
big incident really at, well, 14, 15. And we've seen it so many times. Just ahead, Lawrence trying with the McLaren, and it looks like Brando nearly clipped them into the wall there. That was trying to go back onto the racing line when there was a front wing still there. Thankfully, no damage taken from the Mercedes of ET8 Lawrence there, but the battling's still going on. Cameron Downs didn't want to overtake Joe Murphy on that occasion, and the Quantum's got into it. But the 2 Hasses now, 4th and 5th. Justin with a real good chance here.
Yep, indeed, Justin's made a good start, hasn't he? And he's slowly building his way into this race, just like he did in Abu Dhabi last week. Is the Haas driver Tech Brutal. Again, the pole man is looking good, isn't it? For the American-based team, I say that. Those Silo, I'm guessing, has just stuffed one underneath, just into turn 7 and 8. Not quite working out, but Silo's liking that move in this race. Just turning it tight through turn 6 and 7. Have the inside for 8. Job done. It's not the optimal line. The optimal line, well, we'll get onto that in a minute. Silo trying to go right around the outside, but Justin, very nice. Very good on the brakes. Controlled it perfectly. Down into turn 11. Didn't outbrake himself. wasn't too early. Just spotted that braking point to perfection. But just briefly back on turn 7 and 8, because the racing line, you know, you naturally want to take a wider line as you do with most corners. But because it's so long and because it's so open, it does, lend itself, especially if you are in a pack, which these guys are. It does kind of, give yourself an extra opportunity. If you can't get it done with the DRS, maybe you've got a bit too much drag on the car, or if you just, the DRS train's just making it too difficult to overtake. Turning it tight underneath into turn 7 and 8 is a very, very good option. I think Silo, well, he made it work, I think, on lap 1, and he's looking to make use of it again last time around. Couldn't quite make it work. Maybe didn't quite have enough of his car alongside to make it work, but it's definitely an overtaking opportunity and one to look out for.
Certainly is. Cameron Downs under a lot of pressure here from LeQuantum as they come through 7 and 8. As I don't know, LeQuantum's trying to force the issue a little bit. Maybe because Tech's behind them as well. It's just causing maybe a little bit of unsettling for the Ferrari driver as they head on through
Here we go.
the little kink of turn 10 into turn number 11, and everyone's being a little bit, well, careful at the moment. They've seen what's happened to, possibly heard what happened to Lawrence, who's now down to 12th place on these softs. And Manlike, who is on a set of mediums, at the back of this train as well, is definitely one to watch out for because they're on a different strategy.
Yep, for sure. Manlike, obviously, with one of the moves of the season down to turn 1 a few laps ago, the triple overtake down into turn 1. Phenomenal move from the Ferrari, and he's doing what he needs to do. He's in the train, so he's on an alternate strategy. So this race is going to come to Manlike. Just, I guess the question will be, will he, run away from him? Not necessarily now, but in the pit stop phase, when everyone, gets their undercuts, gets their fresh tyres on, will that gap just be too much for Manlike to reel in? We'll have to wait and see. Lawrence, first man into the pit lane, off the soft compound tyres, his first one to bite the bullet, set of mediums. Now the question is that to the end, or are we going to be seeing another stop?
Yeah, it looks like 20 laps on the mediums is a possibility, but I think a lot of drivers will probably try a soft, medium, soft. I'm not sure, or soft, medium. It's one of those two strategies for sure. As a set of mediums now on for Lawrence.
There comes Quantum. Sorry to interrupt. Quantum around the outside of Cameron Downs into 11. Now turns the inside. Turns 12 and 13. Job done. Is Cameron going to stick his nose in? Backs out of it. Thought about it. In the end, sensibly backed out of it. Quantum around the outside of 11. Turns to the inside for turn 12. Job done for the Ferrari. He's up to P2, and he looked like making that move for a couple laps now, but Cameron Downs, I don't think, is liking that one bit. He's got the overtake on. He wants to be in P2. Does the Scotsman on the inside for turn 17. Quantum, maybe a little bit later on the brakes down turn 17. He's got enough alongside to maybe have the exit. He's going to have the drive, he's going to have the traction. It's the Ferrari with the inside for turn 19. Not that that means much, and in the end, Cameron Downs uses the battery and decides enough is enough. I want this P2. I'm going to force the issue, and forces the Quantum to back out of it. The Quantum, he's got a bit of pace, hasn't he? Does the Ferrari. He's been hanging the back of Cameron for a while, and he's shown his hand on lap 10, or well, what was lap 9 of 29, is now lap 10 of 29. He's selling into this race nicely. It's the Ferrari.
He certainly is. Definitely had some pace earlier on, and Brutal just sticking behind for the time being. Here's LeQuantum again, sticking to the back end of the Aston Martin. Will he try again up in the inside of turn 11 or the outside of turn 11? Nothing on it on this occasion, as Cameron Dowds gets very close to the back end of Joe Murphy on the exit of turn number 11, and it's all nice and smooth. But LeQuantum definitely at this stage on the tyres. Oh, Cameron's bit of a mistake at the exit of turn number 15 there, and that's cost them. And they're now 0.7 seconds away from Joe Murphy, and this probably isn't going to help their cause keeping second place.
No, but he's got enough of an exit to keep Quantum at bay for the time being. Although he's late on the brakes, it's the Ferrari. That's, well, nearly measures perfection in the end. That was far too close for liking. Joe Murphy bails down into pit lane. So the race leader's pulled the pin, he's pulled the trigger into the pit lane. Comes the race leader, comes the kick Sauber, and Tech Brutal, and a lot of others, Silo, Ray Vicar, Brando, Max van der Geest, all falling into pit lane. Who's going to be the unlucky victims as far as traffic is concerned in pit lane? Joe Murphy looks like he's got away just about okay, as is Tech Brutal. Lawrence was the man to come in a lap ago. That is an undercut and a half, I'm noticing. Is this the lead of the race? Not quite, but it will be, I reckon. Come the end of lap 11, you'll have a place on the podium, I think, once all is said and done.
Could very well do. Let's see the move between Cameron Downs and LeQuantum again. This time, easy does it for LeQuantum with the DRS to their advantage and no DRS to Cameron Downs. It could very well be. We're seeing two strategies set up for this race. Doesn't look like you lose that much time in the pits. Someone else who's managed to do an undercut, and that's Tony Richet. He's starting to lose ground to Lawrence ahead as Silo and Hazara fighting away. So we stay on board with Cameron Downs as they come down the back straight into turn 17. Will they make a move on the Ferrari driver? We'll have to wait and see. Nothing doing at the moment, and we wonder if these guys will pit on this lap.
Yeah, all eyes on Ferrari and Aston Martin. Ferrari pull the trigger. LeQuantum's into the pit lane. Volakongen seeing Cameron Downs as 9 to the pit lane. That's not good news. If you are a fan of Ferrari, LeQuantum with a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is his race done and dusted. As far as official results go, Volakongen followed him in. Cameron Downs has continued another lap. So just like in Monza, Cameron's going for the lengthy soft tyre stint to eventually put on the mediums, have fresher mediums for the rest of the Grand Prix. Where does everyone else come out in comparison? As expected, Lawrence is, or does have, an effective podium position at this moment in time, although he's got to be careful he doesn't lose too much time and lose tabs on Joe Murphy and Tech Brutal. Man like breezes on by Casper down into turn 11. The question now for Cameron is, you know, how far back in this train is he going to be? How much better are a fresher set of medium compound tyres?
You see it time and time again, and but before I go on to that, LeQuantum nearly losing it on the cold tyres at the exit of turn 14, really squiffy and squirrely through there. But we see it time and time again in sim racing, where whether it be Jarno or Tom Manley or Thomas Ronhard, they go later, and then they're so much stronger at the end of the Grand Prix on lighter tyres. That could lighter fuel modes and everything. Oh goodness me, that's Zinedine touching the wall after Tech Brutal getting past both Lawrence and Zinedine there on a straight. It just didn't look like there was enough room, surprisingly.
Yeah, so Joe Murphy managed to get around the outside of Zinedine into 12, which meant that he put a car between himself and Tech Brutal. Okay, no safety car. Thought there might be, but I think it's down pit lane, so it's all good. Yeah, managed to put a car between himself and Tech Brutal, through turns 13, 14, 15, and 16, which really balked the Haas drivers. So he had to get on by, and he did just pull alongside. I think Lawrence also wanted to join the party. LeQuantum is sort of bridging that gap to the Mercedes. Of course, Lawrence will have, for the most part, older tyres than anybody in this field. As far as those that have gone for the soft medium, Casper still out on a set of soft compound tyres, getting dragged along by Manlike for the time being. I hope he knows he can't do a soft. Because it's getting to the point where that's becoming a potential possibility. If you're Casper, surely you're in this time. Surely. Only man that has not put on a set of medium compound tyres as of yet is the Williams. Yeah, where did Cameron come out in all this then? He's P11 at the moment. In fact, Tech Brutal has breezed on by Joe Murphy down to turn 17. So Tech Brutal has to effectively lead the Grand Prix again. Casper's into the pit lane. So that's all the soft runners onto a set of medium compound tyres. To what we think is probably, I think we're all in agreement, the rest of this race, would you say?
I think it is now at this point, unless there's a safety car. Justin trying to find a way past Ray and Bakar there into turn 1. It's just not happening.
Yeah, again, Justin trying to get the drive, but there's a car in the way. In fact, I think is Rayan backing out? Indeed he is. So he wants to... He lets Justin go. Volokongan will have to deal with the Red Bull now. Can he turn it underneath into turn 7 and 8? No, not quite close enough to do that. Now he's going to have to rely on a decent exit and a bit of DRS and slipstream to get on by the Red Bull. The Quantum's doing battle with Lawrence, and Tech Brutal is doing battle with Joe Murphy. Joe Murphy back into lead this race. The Quantum is by Lawrence. Here comes Justin, Ray and Bakar. Oh my goodness me, what's going on here? Volokongan and Cameron Dow's are getting amongst it as well. Volokongan's off the inside of Justin. Can he get Ray and Bakar as well? Justin's trying to stick his nose in at the same time, but he can't quite make it work. Cameron Dow's has to yield and does. So Volokongan's by Justin. Next on the hit list will be Ray and Bakar, and I think most concerningly, that 3-second gap. What's happened there, bud? Yeah, what has happened there to generate that 3-second gap?
Pit stops. It's just pit stops coming out at the wrong time. Tony Richet was in the way. Where's safety car? Do people go onto another set of medium compound tyres? Fresh tyres to the end. Let's have a look at it. Drivers are going on to fresh tyres. Manlike has to go on to softs. Maybe you could take softs to the end here. Be very unlikely, but Casper picking up a 10-second penalty as well.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not ideal for Casper, but Casper did get them, what was it, 13, 14 laps? That'll be doable. Manlike couldn't win anybody.
This is going to be so unfortunate for the front runners. They're on... I mean, this is hurt Cameron Downs anyway, because, well, Cameron's gone onto a set of softs as well, but Cameron had to... He was going for that longer soft run at the front. He had so much better tyre life than anyone else around them, but now deciding that softs is the way forward for them. And Le Quantum, with that 10-second penalty handed over them, let's have a look at that, because they can't serve it in this pit window unless they're happy to fight through the field.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, obviously, and Joe Murphy, Tech Brutal, and the Quantum have been massively caught out there with that safety car, because everyone else behind has been able to pit, and they haven't. And they're going to be stuck on the oldest tyres out of anybody in this field, barring Epic Vale, who I'm going to assume is also going to be in very shortly as well. So brings Epic Vale back into play in the Red Bull, the winner from Monza. Are any of these three going to go for the pits or not? That is... The Quantum does.
Get rid of that 10 seconds. That's the best thing for it. You can get rid of the 10 seconds. They'll stop. They won't do anything.
No, they're not. You're right. So that is the best call, to get rid of that 10 seconds. Take the hit. Corner says softs and charge through the field. It does put the other Ferrari, a Manlike, onto the podium. This is an incredible result building potentially. Manlike, he's on a set of soft compound tyres, and he will be the first at the scene of Tech Brutal and Joe Murphy's older medium compound tyres. Oh my goodness.
Very, very strange scenes here in Miami with the Hard Rock Cafe Stadium just in the background. My goodness me indeed. Epic Vale onto a set of mediums coming into the pits as well. So Le Quantum's decided mediums for their pits. They weren't comfortable taking the softs any longer. Maybe that is the difference. I think Le Quantum is a pad driver, while I'm not sure about Manlike, Cameron's wheel. So maybe the wheel has a better tyre life saver, I guess, which is usually the case. But we're never too sure. It's circuit dependent, isn't it? Which is really, really difficult. But we'll have to wait and see. Joe Murphy then leading this Grand Prix from Tech Brutal, and a possible first console tier 1 win on the cards for Manlike in third.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what Manlai can do in this position. He's got soft compound tyres. You know, most around him are on mediums, and particularly the two ahead of him on older medium tyres. They're probably going to be sitting ducks when the safety car comes in, especially if it stays out as long as it is. Casper, that's unfortunate. Testing penalty for ignoring yellow flag, but Casper's into the pit lane. Has he picked up any wing damage or something?
He did
That's an
pick up
interesting call.
He had picked up a 10-second penalty before that anyway, so it's likely. I don't think they're going to serve 20 seconds worth, but it is a set of softs that is going on to that Williams.
Epic Veil's in again as well.
That is
Might be soft, this. It is. Epic Veil could also be one to watch with that strategy. I mean, not done any, you got Manlai and Cameron Dowds, albeit nowhere near as intense. They still have done safety car laps on those sets of soft compound tyres. Epic Veil, it's a bit of a no-brainer if you're going to come in now to put on a set of softs to the end of this Grand Prix, because I think Cameron Dowds and particularly Casper proved they can go that long. Whether it's wise to take them that long will be a different question, but I think with lighter fuel loads, making the car lighter means the tyres are, makes it a bit easier on the tyres. It can, they'll play a role. But I'm going to take a wild guess and say that Casper and Epic Veil will catch up to the back of this train, and we should be, at the end of this lap 17, we should be back underway and under green flag.
Tom Roberts has given something in the chat. It's going to rain, so we would serve it in the pits. So this is why drivers were going as long as possible. If it does rain, but it's that stupid rain, then you want the better tyres, so that would have worked in Cameron's favour. But now that's why, with the safety car coming in this lap, Cameron is happy on those softs. So if it rains, when does it rain, and is it going to lay properly? And by lay properly, I mean puddle on the surface. We'll have to wait and see. If you were Joe Murphy, when would you go?
Good question. I don't think certainly I never was able to lead a safety car restart around here in Miami. I would maybe try and do it kind of somewhere on the exit of this final corner. Kind of like really slow down, then go. Just like that. There you go. No threat whatsoever from Tech Brutal behind. Joe Murphy drops the hammer and is completely safe into turn 1. Joe Murphy leads the way then. 7-lap on medium tyres. Sideways is the kickstarter into turn number 1. Tech Brutal falling in behind, and a lot of eyes will be on the Ferrari of Manlai. The man from Tier 2 last year, the runner-up from Tier 2 last year. Can he produce a shock for the ages here in WOR? He's third at the moment. He's on soft compound tyres. Can he do it? What can he do on that with that Ferrari? Not a great exit on the exit to number 8. That might leave him vulnerable. The likes of Lawrence and Ray Bacard behind. He's got to be careful. Lawrence using the battery as much as he can, as is Manlai. Manlai goes defensive. Tech Brutal's looking for the lead this Grand Prix. Tech Brutal has to lead this Grand Prix. So then, Lawrence trying to go around the outside of Manlai. Can he make it work? No, Manlai should have the drive, should have the grip to hold it around the outside. Indeed he does. Does the Ferrari, so he keeps on to P3 for the time being. Sideways again over the curb through turns 14 and 15. And gets out of 16 just fine. But Tech Brutal's in to lead this Grand Prix. What's the progress been like of those further behind?
Cameron Dowds, it's up into 10th place now, with Max van der Gies next on his hit list. He's going to the inside. Move done and dusted. It's next Volakongan for the Scotsman there. And, well, Cameron is definitely no slouch. He's going to be pushing as best they can. Back up to the leaders. The DRS is back enabled. It is the only real way we can watch this race from, I think, for a few laps at least, is watching how Manlai continues to battle away with the leaders. Joe Murphy just holding back a little bit from Tech. Maybe Tech's using a bit more ERS than Joe Murphy, just to build a little gap so he's not worried down the straight in Sector 2.
He's threatening to pull away his Tech Brutal. He's really dropping the hammer. That gap has grown quite significantly, and Manlai is going to fancy a bit of this, isn't he? Down this back straight. Overtake on for the Ferrari driver. He's got the slipstream, hasn't quite. Joe Murphy's just been able to keep hold of the DRS. In fact, look at the overspeed. between Joe Murphy and Madlike. Madlike charging around the outside. Joe Murphy late on the brakes, forced his way through. He's close the line. It's contact between the pair. And Lawrence is going to say thank you very much. He slots into P2. Contact further back as well. Madlike picks up a 3-second penalty. Red Bacar's on the inside. It's utter pandemonium in the middle sector. It's all kicked off on lap 19 of 29. Justin's looking for a move on Red Bacar. Madlike, it's all gone wrong. Too much aggression between the pair of them. They all got Constantine together. It's all gone wrong. Here comes Red Bacar. He's way too late on the brakes. Surely hasn't got his stop. Was blocked Joe Murphy's pass nicely. Justin's on the inside. More contact further back. Red Bacar is round. He's into the wall. That is his day. Done and dusted. It's a virtual safety car. What on earth was going on there, Gareth?
It was very, very difficult to tell, wasn't it? And everyone, there is someone with front wing damage somewhere. I saw something flying off at the exit of turn 16. My goodness me. Just no one wanting to concede position there, and that is what's happened. Cost a lot of time, and Tech Brutal has that 1.5 second gap to Lawrence in second place. But Lawrence drove through a load of cars. Is that going to be looked at by the stewards?
Don't know. I mean, if they're ghosted, it's can't do much surely. I guess it'll be one to look out for in the stewards maybe. I can't see why there'd be anything wrong with that. Because if you stop, you're just going to cause more issues, aren't you? Oh, that's lay on the brakes from Justin, and in fact it is Justin who does have the front wing. I can see the left end plate has gone missing from the Haas, so Justin has got a little bit less downforce at the front of that Haas. What do they do with it? But Tech Brutal's got a huge chance, a really huge chance to pull the pin and pull clear massively. Casper's round. We have another virtual safety car. In fact, he's just completely stop. That's, you know what? Not going to question it. Yeah, completely stop. Brings out another virtual safety car. Yeah, but it's all kicked off here, hasn't it? In the past couple laps of that safety car restart, and just like that, two virtuals have followed. Vale into the pit lane. Interesting. It's a wing change. It has to be a set of medium compound tyres, so that's not going to do him any favours really. Same with the other Red Bull of Ray and Bacar. Goodness me, this race is it's gone mad. Oh, Tech Brutal's lagged out. Tech Brutal has lagged out of the session. Oh my, it gets even crazier here in Miami.
Epic Vale has picked up a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. Hopefully Tech can get into the lobby quickly, or back into the lobby quickly, as we see Justin and Lawrence fighting away through this tight section. And maybe Justin will go just that little bit slower, as it's his teammate that is the driver struggling with it. Tech is back in. Hopefully they can take control of the car, and hopefully the car doesn't go into the pit lane. Joe Murphy.
Again before pit lane. Oh my.
As here comes Lawrence then past Justin quite easily then. And Tech Brutal looked like he definitely had that restart absolutely perfect.
Lucky.
And lagged out pretty straight away. But Tech thankfully hasn't been diverted into the pit lane. But lap 22 of 29, there is signs of clouds here in Miami.
Yeah, well, a bit overcast, hasn't it?
Certainly has. Let's go on board then for the Battle of P2, because that's the one to watch out for at the moment.
Yeah, Justin and Lawrence before P2. Lawrence does have a penalty. What kind of penalty is that? Is that just a basic 3 second, or is that something a bit more? It is just a basic 3 seconds for ETA Lawrence. Joe Murphy is talking about, in fact, we've got Silo and Joe Murphy doing battle. I think Silo has gone for that move into turn 7 and 8 once again, and he fancies displacing Joe Murphy. 4P4 side by side between the pair, banging wheels on entrance to turn 11. Joe Murphy, that's aggressive but fair from the kickstart, although he's not got a great run through 11. That's going to allow Silo to go right round the outside. He's got the drive, he's got the grip. Joe Murphy has to back out, no choice. Silo really move up into P4. Joe Murphy maybe, just maybe, slightly a bit too late. I mean, I thought it was great defending. Aggressive, but fair. But in the process, maybe just went in just that little bit too deep. But that allowed Silo, the smallest of windows, to get the switch back, to get onto the outside, drive around the outside as well, which left him the inside for 13, and that basically forced Joe Murphy to yield, gave him no other option. Those at the front are really pulling the pin to try and reel in Tech Brutal. Lap 23 and 29, we are in the closing stages of this Miami Grand Prix. Of course, Tech Brutal has older tyres than everybody else. It's literally just Joe Murphy, who's on 12 lap all medium tyres, and well, the next car behind him is the soft runner of Cameron Downs. How quickly will the Scotsman be able to dispatch of one of his title rivals from last season? Of course, none of them, or neither of them, managed to claim the title. That went to Rens Thomason, and deservedly so. This time their seasons haven't quite gone according to plan. They'll be soon doing battle for P5 very shortly, I reckon. Single file at the front. They've caught Tech Brutal. He has been reeled in. They're inside his DRS range. Feels like a sense of inevitability about it. Disconnect or no disconnect for Tech Brutal. Brando's right behind Cameron. He's up into, or he's in P. In fact, Volkong has displaced Cameron, hasn't he? Those two Aston Martins have swapped down to turn 11, I'm guessing.
Yep, they have. Cameron struggling with pace a little bit on the softs at the moment. Maybe a bit too much ERS usage, but into turn 11, they let the positions, well, trade positions, let's say. The Quantum and Manlike battling as well. Unteammately, I guess is the best way to describe it. Yellow flag, and that is another virtual safety car, because there has been an incident between the two Red Bulls of Epic Vale and Ray and Bakar. There's not much teammate love tonight.
No, it's not going well down at Red Bull, is it? Their race has very quickly unravelled. Ray and Bakar's unhappy. He's weaving a bit. So is Epic Vale. So no one's happy down at Red Bull, but they haven't got the safety car they wanted. They needed a full one. In the end, it's just a virtual that just neutralises proceedings for the time being. Is that spots of rain I see, by the way? I think it is.
There are a few spots hitting this Aston Martin's halo there, so it is definitely getting to the stage of, well, raining. It is raining. It's spitting, I suppose you could call it.
Yeah. What's going on here?
Why has everyone stopped?
Why?
What on earth has happened there? Tech has bolted. Justin and Lawrence are side by side. What has happened there? LeQuantum with a drive-through penalty. Casper with a drive-through penalty. We got other penalties there as well. I am not 100% sure what we just witnessed. Silo goes past Justin.
Yeah, massive contact. Silo laid to the brakes. Wants to get past Lawrence. He's going to go into the back of Lawrence. But the problem was, there was BLT Justin on the inside, and it got very messy down into turn 17. But as a result of it, I don't know how, but as a result, it's a Haas 1-2, which actually might not be the greatest thing in the world if you're Haas right now, because it's raining. It's lap 25 and 29. It's kind of going to be soon becoming a case of stick or twist. How heavy is the rain? We don't know. How much more, how much grip are these guys going to have on the slicks? Again, we do not know. But if they do have to come in, that is not an ideal place to be in, because they're going to have to double stack. You can't. It's just a lesser of two evils when it comes to losing time. And if you're Justin, I don't know if there are any team orders, but if they're not, now's the time to be selfish and get on by your teammate. And he does the honorary thing, or the honourable thing, of sticking in behind. Silo in P3, Joe Murphy fighting back around the outside of 12, trying to keep or get hold of P4. Epic Vale decides enough is enough for one day, and that might be the best. He's had a torrid time out there as race winner from Monza a couple of weeks ago. He's going to have to hit reset before round 5 next week. Here's Justin then. He fancies the race. He fancies the race lead. Does that? He displaces his teammate at the top. Here in Miami, we've got Silo again late in the brakes into turn 17. Right then, anyone into the pit lane on this occasion? No, not wet enough, say the drivers. And another lap ticks by, another lap where you might just think, you know what, we're just going to have to stick this out on the slicks, aren't we? Because it's just not going to be worth coming in for an intermediate. Drama here in Miami.
Ryan Bakar is quicker than Casper there in 15th and 16th, and that is our telling point into the pits. Is LeQuantum in there as well, so Quantum is deciding an intermediate compound of tyres is the best thing at this point, and it's...
Whoa! Sorry, Lawrence has just massively lost the back end on the XF turn 8. He's going to lose a couple positions. They're going to be side by side, starting to interrupt through turns 9 and 10. Who's going to be later on the brakes into 11? Volakongan backs out. Who's that round the outside? It's Brando, championship leader. Brando, round the outside, the three of them. That's Osman-like move from earlier. That is unbelievable from the championship lead. The McLaren has sent it round the outside of all three of them, and it's up into P4. That is unbelievable from the McLaren of Brando. Well, we said he needed a good race from down in P14 to keep his championship lead intact. He has done just that. Tech Brutal to the inside of Justin, down into turn 17. Tech Brutal later on the brakes, has the inside line. Justin hung out to dry bit. They're starting to slide a bit on the exit. The tyres don't have quite the same grip as he did a couple laps ago. It's getting slipperier here in Miami, but there's only 3 laps to go. It's going to get to the point, I reckon, Gareth, but they're just going to stick it out on slicks.
Don't know if it's going to be worth it. Lawrence with front wing damage there, front left end plate damage. Sorry, struggling, nearly taking Cameron Dowds out as well. It just shows how difficult with it all. Silo, let's go on board then with the leaders. Is going through Justin. Justin with that front end plate damage as well. It's only going to get worse. So is Silo. Silo's got damaged front wing as well. Tech Brutal pulling along, but this could be. Well, Brando is in a great chance here to get some onto the podium, get some real good points, and possibly take the victory tonight.
Yeah, he's got to be careful not to throw all the way. He's done incredibly well to get up here so far. Contact between Silo and Justin. Justin loses the back end. It's getting treacherous out there. More contact.
Oh, Silo's
Silo
gone. Round.
Justin into the back of Silo, into the middle sector. That spins round the Williams, and that's his day done. Brando's up to P2. It allows Tech Brutal to completely and utterly check out here in Miami. He's got 1.5 second lead. Does the Haas driver. Joe Murphy is sliding behind McLaren for now. How treacherous is it then? You've got to also bear in mind, Tech Brutal has 16 lap on medium compound tyres. Everyone else, Brian Joe Murphy, has slightly fresher tyres at their disposal. I see LeQuantum is slowly now gaining a bit of time in that Ferrari, if I'm not mistaken. That gap is slowly coming down. But it's not going to be enough, so it is just going to be a case of grin and bear it on these slick tyres for the rest of this Grand Prix.
Really does depend. Well, Brando, I think if you're Brando right now, you just let some drivers go past if need be. You just make sure you keep the car sticking in the right direction, because other drivers are making mistakes left, right, and centre. The 2 TF10 drivers of Max van der Geest and Dirk in 6th and 7th. Respectively there. Shizu Volakongan in 5th. Cameron Dowds. It hasn't worked out on those softs in the end, but here comes Joe Murphy up the inside of Brando as they head on down into turn 11. There's another yellow flag. And Justin is through the middle there as well, trying, but the front wing end plate, there's more contact with BRT and TF10 with Justin and Brando there. That is quite tight on this penultimate lap.
I think Tech Brutal's going to be unchallenged. He's managed to get away from the fight, and he's going to have a fairly, and I think for the first time in a long time, the race leader is going to have a very chilled out last lap. It is in the bag for Tech Brutal, you'd have to think. Justin trying to get the move on Joe Murphy. Joe Murphy lay on the brakes, but too late on the brakes. And that was Justin the inside line. Now, who can get the power down? It's so slippery out there, it's so treacherous on these slick tyres. Joe Murphy on the white line. The car just slipping and sliding, the back end stepping out ever so slightly for the Sauber, but he just about keeps it facing the right way. Does have a 3-second penalty to his name, so Justin does hold P2 for the time being on the after penalties, at least in-game penalties. So close in this battle for P2. Brando getting right up behind Justin. Is Volkonga going to try and turn it tight? No, Brando almost sees it coming, turns it tight himself. He does not want Volkonga to come by. And one thing that hasn't been disabled, by the way, is the DRS. I'm pretty sure hasn't been disabled. No, it hasn't. Here we go then. Last lap then. Down the back straight we go. Brando is going to have the DRS. He's going to be in the slipstream, but he might get boxed in a little bit here if he's not careful. He can't afford to throw it down the road just yet. He just about keeps it facing the right way. Now be through the middle sector for the last time. Joe Murphy does have a penalty, so Justin is in position to claim P2. It will be a Haas one too, unless Brando can pull a move on Justin into the final corner. But all eyes will go on the race leader. He has been phenomenal from start to finish, and he's got a 2.3 second gap. We'll get to that a bit because Brando has got the drive down into turn 17. Can he splice braking point? Justin's too late on the brakes. He can't get that stopped. All eyes are on Tech Brutal though, who wins here in Miami. He claims victory here in Miami. Brando's managed to get P3 in the end, or P2 should I say. Volkongen comes home in P4, Justin P3. Van der Gees, where have you come from? Into P5. Cameron P6, Ryan P7, Joe Murphy with the penalty drops to P8. Dirk and Lawrence round out the top 10. Oh, Miami Grand Prix that was, Gareth.
Yeah, very good. Miami Grand Prix there as Tech Brutal takes victory in the end, but there will definitely be some inquiries to the stewards tonight in this one, and Miami very, well, towards the end of the race, very wet. Quantum was eventually quicker, but my goodness me, what a race there. And Paul Silo down in 13th place, not 100% sure what happened there. But yeah, there we have it. Drive of the day, please, Leopard.
Probably Brando, hasn't it? Surely. I feel like with that kind of drive.
I think so, yeah, from 14th to 12th, 14th to 2nd, sorry. Looking very solid. Yeah, very odd. Not that, I'm just thinking just the race in general. Game gives it to Justin. Justin did have a very good race, but there is question marks over that as well, unfortunately.
Yep, one look at the chat will tell you everything.
There we have it. Tech Brutal then taking victory tonight. A great drive from Tech. Brando in second, 13th to third to Justin, 4th to Volkongen, 5th to Max van der Geest, 6th to Ryan, 7th to Joe Murphy, 8th is Dirk, 9th is Lawrence, and man like there rounding out the top 10. Then we had Hazara, Silo, Quantum, Casper, Cameron Dowd's down in 15th. I think he left before that, so that possibly is incorrect on there.
I think it is.
Ray and Bakar, Epic Vale, Zinedine, Quartz, and Tony Richet unable to finish the race. That, again, another chaotic race here in World Online Racing, season 20.
Yeah, indeed it was. That rain in the end really did spice things up, and in the end, coming into the pit lane was not an option. Didn't get wet enough. Had to stick it out on the slick tyres. It was Tech Brutal who, in the end, after a bit of squabbling behind him, was able to pull the pin and get out of it, and claiming his first race victory of the season. And he puts himself right back into title contention. But who's had a really good day as far as the title is concerned? It's our drive of the day. It's TF10 Brando. He has had a phenomenal day. Not just going from P13 to P2. Not only the triple overtake round the outside into 11, but when you look at what's happened to everybody else, behind him, Silo, not in the end, not a great points total. Ryderdal not here. Volkongen, he finished ahead of Cameron Dowds, again down in P6. Epic Vale, again didn't finish. he is getting a whole host of points on those around him. His second place in a row, that is. He is in a very, very good position as far as his title is concerned.
Certainly, and just showing at the moment you don't need to take victory on a race to win the championship. He's doing a very good job. 4 rounds in, though, plenty still to play for. Let's track map, the actual track calendar. So we've got round 4 out the way, and we might as well play the little game that we did last week. What do you reckon is going to be for next week's race, Leopard?
Let's have a look then. What do we have at our disposal? Let's get the season 20 calendar up. Get the track pool up. Okay, right. So we have had Shanghai. We have had what was round 2? What's round 2? Monza. Italy. We have had Abu Dhabi. We've had Miami. What will round 5 be? I guess Baku last week. I'm gonna go for I'm between 2 here. I'm gonna say Mexico.
You're gonna go stick on the American continent. There's just the South American one. Yeah, I'm going to pick your one from last week, which was Baku. Let's see if we're right. We'll find out next week. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it will all pan down. But there we have it. That is, I don't think it's wise to have people in the podium interviews for this week.
Well, it's becoming a theme, isn't it? It's just like, yeah, no, just leave them to it, lads. This is not the place. But yeah, as you mentioned, probably not the wisest decision. So yeah, I'll let you round us off.
Fantastic. There we have it. The Miami Grand Prix has had its fair shares of spills and thrills and a little bit of wet to end the race as well. But there only one man that was able to navigate it all, and that was Tech Brutal, and he's done it in some emphatic fashion as well. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. From myself and Leopard, we'll catch you next week.